My name is Christine Dorbergamo, and I am a business major.
My name is Eli Diaz, and my major is political science.
My name is Dulce, and my major is nutrition and dietetics with a focus on nutritional science.
My name is Miriam, and I'm a graduate student in the College of Education. I'm currently completing my master's.
I came when I was 9, and I think I came to seek a better life.
I came here when I was 10 years old. I think in general, my parents just wanted us to have a better life because in the Philippines, we were struggling.
I was brought to the States back in 1994, September, and I was 11 years old. My parents made the decision to come to the States. I didn't have a say. I wasn't offered any options, but now I understand why they did it.
I came to the US when I was 7 years old, and I knew that I was undocumented. The reason why we came here was in pursuit of a better life. That's what my mom believed, and so she decided to leave Mexico and come here.
Being undocumented is who I am. It hasn't shaped who I am. It is part of me. It's part of my identity. How I think, what I do, what I don't do, who I talk to, who I don't talk to, the school I'm going to, everything. It shapes everything I do. There's been occasions where I try to speak to my counselors and teachers to further my education. And through revealing that I couldn't apply to FAFSA or certain scholarships, or I couldn't study abroad, I systematically revealed that I was a DACA recipient. And I didn't want to say I was an undocumented student because of the stigma behind the word undocumented. So I said I was a DACA recipient instead. But by doing so, I was met with like blank stares and blank expressions. And that made me restrain from mentioning my status. And oftentimes it made me feel isolated and more abnormal than other students.
Well, my status affects especially my mental health because, again, seeing how when you go to community college, you're supposed to be there 2 years, right? Being later in life, not knowing how the system works, and having, it took me 5 years, I immediately thought of myself as a failure, Right now, I try to forget that happened, but I did think of myself, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough for this. Hence, I shouldn't continue with the bachelor's. Now that I'm at the bachelor's, now that I transfer, I still continue doubting myself,
I did second, third grade, all the way to 12th grade. And by that time, I was really excited because I wanted to go to college. But then when they were asking for my Social Security, I didn't have one. I knew I didn't have one. And so my counselor said that I wasn't going to be able to go to school. That was 2004. But a couple years before, AB 540 had passed. And they knew about AB 540, they knew that I was able to, but they didn't have the right information for me. Another student who was undocumented had gone to college by that time, and so I was connected to her, and they told me, contact her, she knows, she can probably, guide you through this process.
The one story that has really changed and shaped who I am as an undocumented individual was when my brother had passed away in the Philippines. It was 2 years after Red came here. That's when it became very real, because we suddenly couldn't just go hop on a plane and go back home. That's when it hit me, because my mom was put in a place where, should I just go back home and take all my children and everything that I worked really hard for so that they could have a better life? Or do I go back home and tend to my son who just passed away? And to see her have to make that decision, me as like an 11-year-old, and kind of understanding that was an eye-opening, and it's really shaped who I am, because I would hate for people to have to go through that situation where they have to choose between, you know, everything you've worked hard for, or going back home for familiarity and, you know, tending to this disaster that just happened in your life. And ultimately, my mom chose to stay here. And I love her so much for that, because, you know, that just shows her sacrifice. And I'm willing to do that same sacrifice, you know? And ever since then, we haven't been back, obviously, so we still haven't seen my brother's grave. And I just want the ability to go do that, but return to here, because this is my home. As an undocumented or DACA recipient, it's hard for me to go to counselors and professors and confide in them about where I'm coming from as an undocumented student, because I feel like I don't know if it's welcoming. I don't know if they're going to put their political stance on it, on the situation. Just a story. I went to a professor of mine this semester to just kind of let this professor know, hey, I'm a field president. I want to know how I could take this to the next level in terms of like my resume, in terms of like my career. And she gave me this like concerning look that I don't know if you should do that. And that kind of just made me like, okay, is that because she's saying that in a political sense, or she's really like looking out for me in a sense in the real world? So those are some concerns and some struggles that I face in terms of trying to communicate with the faculty here.
Well, I think first would be is learning about the struggles that the undocumented community is going through. Then it's once they face, or a student reaches out to them and opens up that experience, or one experience does not apply to all undocumented students. They vary. You know, my program was really good. My professors were really open and helpful, but what I struggled with was people in the admin side not knowing what to do with me. It has to be a collective effort to try to help students out.
A lot of the students, you know, in their classrooms, they actually have additional challenges, you know, they're just being a student, you know, like in my case and everyone else that is undocumented, I assume, we have to worry about, you know, maybe being deported, or our parents being deported, some of our friends, about not having steady work. Again, money is involved with everything. So if you don't have money, that means you don't have money to pay rent, to buy food, to buy books. So how do we make it happen, you know? If professors, faculty, other allies, you know, at least if they're willing to learn about our struggle, then that's already like a good start, you know? And from there we can come together and perhaps come up with some solutions to this situation.
Communication in terms of, in general sense, I think going to class and maybe saying, hey, come to office hours if there's an issue that you want to talk about on a personal note. You know, I'm not coming here to judge. I'm here to help you, basically. And I think that they could use their platform to do research as well for us. Like I've mentioned, I independently try to do research in benefit of the members of FUEL, and I just hope that faculty could do their platform. You know, they have more resources that I probably don't know about, or experiences that could benefit undocumented students on campus about career paths, especially career paths and securing a job after graduation, especially now that we don't have the protection of DACA. Like, are we supposed to just, you know, work under the tables? Or how do we even know there's companies that are willing to petition us for visas or anything like that? And that would be so much helpful for us if faculty just utilize their platform to do that.
A struggle that we might have might not be as struggle for others, but it is for us because of our status. Like I commute from North County to Long Beach, and I pass a Border Patrol checkpoint every Tuesday and Thursday that I come to campus. You know, that's something that an average student might not think of, but to me, every time I pass a checkpoint, I am anxious, I am scared that at any point anything could happen to me and I could be targeted. Knowing that I might not have a job, maybe undocumented students might not have, they're not certain of their job. You know, my work authorization is about to expire, and I might not have a job in December. You know, and all this little stress add up, and sometimes it enables you to study, to get a paper done, or to do well on a quiz. I want them to accommodate to those things because we don't want to feel stressed. We don't want to miss an essay, a deadline. We don't want to do bad on a quiz. It just happens. And it's an issue that affects us.
I believe that a good ally would be an individual that is aware of the current political climate, and also that undocumented individuals, you know, live within our society, you know. Someone that is willing to take the time to go to workshops like this one, to understand the struggles of the people and what it is that they're doing to solve their situation. If you're not willing to accept that there's an issue, then we are not able to fix that issue.
But one thing I know is that I've been very successful in places that are not only welcome to students who are undocumented, but that really help you out. Or at least in my case, my professor really helped me out when I really needed him, whether it was support academically, professionally, or just as a person, as a human being there for me to support me or just hear me.
To me, looks like somebody who not only understands what being an undocumented individual is, but it also looks at the interest of undocumented individuals. You know what I mean? I wish that they could, I think I picture an ally to somebody who's not like, oh, like I feel pity for you, in a sense, because sometimes they're just like, okay, I'm an ally, but really supports everything that an undocumented individual stands for and what they are fighting for.
Having counselors that know what it is to be undocumented, what undocumented and being a DACA recipient mean. A lot of teachers and counselors don't know what DACA means. And if they do, they think it's probably they think it's a permanent residency. It's just like a permanent residency. They don't question themselves and try to get to know what that means to you. I would want them to understand that this is being undocumented. It's not something that we asked for. It just happened. I would like them to know that we are just like every other student. We want to have a better life.